guys, welcome back to another episode. So today we're going to be pulling this valve cover off and giving it a bit of a repaint. So I'm going to run you through the steps on how to do that. The paint we're going to be using today is Metal Cast brand. It's a purple anodized colour, just from old mates down at Super Cheap. So we'll get into it. So we're going to start by removing these 6 coil packs by undoing the 2 bolts in each corner and popping them out. And then around the valve cover we've got these small bolts around the side, so we'll undo all of these. That will then allow us to remove the valve cover. So the wiring we can just pull out of here and we can just flip that over the top and that will keep that out of the way. Right, so here's our 6 coils. Now the last 3 of these are wet. You can see they're completely gunked up, which could well be what our miss was. You can see it's just horrible in there. And I'm putting that down to the fact that we've got this vent along the back here. And I probably should have thought more about it. We're parking the car outside, obviously water's going to come down here, and the lowest point is in these coil pack holes, so I'm guessing it's just filled the last 3 out with water, and that could well be what our miss is. So I'll give that a dry up, and when we put it all back together hopefully the miss is gone. So the actual valve cover is bloody filthy. You can just see it's like peeling and everything. Just looks bloody horrible. I think the seal was gone as well, as it was leaking on the side down here onto the exhaust manifold and stuff like that. So she's just a bloody mess. Yeah, I suppose these come in plastic and metal. I'm hoping it's metal because I've scratched a bit there and it does look shiny underneath, but it does feel very thin, but maybe it's an alloy. It's hard to tell, but let's look at the state of this underneath. It definitely needs a good clean. It's just horrible, isn't it? Paint peeling off and everything. So we'll give this a clean up and then we'll start priming it and getting it ready to be painted. Bloody disgusting. There's literally like chunks of just, I guess, dried up oil just flaking off, like it's just full of it. And after about 3 hours of cleaning, this is what it's come out like. You can see it's a lot better than what it was. It was horrible before. And on the other side, she's looking pretty good as well. I'm yet to sand it, just to get it back and flat so I can lay a nice primer coat, and then we can start laying a silver and finally the pearl on top. So, but yeah, so that's a heck of a lot cleaner. It was absolutely filthy. Like, I've never seen a valve cover this bad before, so yeah, a lot of cleaning and scrubbing. Right, now to give it a quick media blast, and then I'm going to pressure wash it just to give it a good clean up. If you haven't got a media blaster, you can always just sand it, it just takes a bit longer. So I'm just going to undo these 6 bolts to remove the compressor housing from the turbo, just to make it easier to paint so we don't get paint all over the rest of the turbo. So first we're going to prime the parts with a grey primer, then we're going to lay down the silver, which should make the purple metallic coating really look good. It should make the colours really pop with it, followed by finally a clear coat over the top to protect the colour. Once the primer's dry, we can finally chuck down the silver, then followed by the colour. Right guys, so I've laid some of the purple down. I got the old heater gun over here just to try and dry it out. It's winter currently in New Zealand, so she's a little bit chilly, so trying to keep the heat up and get the heat into the paint and into the actual items, and hopefully that'll dry shortly and then we can lay the clear coat down on it. But pretty happy with the colour, that really is popping, so very cool. Right guys, so I've put the clear coat on it and I've baked it in the oven for a couple of hours, and honestly this colour is bloody ridiculous. It's so cool. It's really glossy with heaps of colours in it. It's gonna look sick. So I'm just baking the valve cover at the moment, letting the paint get nice and hard on that, and then according to the can this needs to sit for 7 days, so I'm gonna leave it inside. Right guys, and it's that easy, all done. For all you other guys out there wanting to do your BMWs at home, my only advice would be replace your valve cover gasket, because they do seem to leak oil down onto the exhaust manifold and that's a pain. And the only other thing is, if you're going to repaint it, I didn't do it this time, but I would highly recommend that you actually grind back the valve cover a little bit just to get it more smooth. There's a lot of bad casting marks and it seems quite common with these valve covers to have it, so yeah, just make sure you give it a good clean up before you paint it. If I ever have to redo this one, I will be going and getting it the surface finish a little bit better. The next video we're going to actually be fitting the turbo and actually doing all the cool stuff, so all the fun bits are about to come. So make sure you stay tuned, like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for the next video.